I can monitor the troll box?
I will do that right now in our group chat.
Which one? Can you do it? We got so many different chats. How about
The one
do you,
that's right here in this hangout is the one I
yeah,
like
but see, no,
first.
I'm on my I want to do that on my PC. Could you send it to me like Twitter or
Twitter DM, it's coming your way.
yay?
So we are now streaming. This is from Moby Dick. I'm here with my good pal Crypto Euclid, and the Goddess is somewhere back there lurking, I'm sure.
I'm here.
We have two guests with us, um, Muse, Jason Battles, and here on Mars. These are two guys that are getting involved in crypto and wanted to hop on here and kind of learn with us and maybe even ask some questions. So with that said, we'll get started. If you guys want to introduce yourselves, kind of tell us a little bit about what you got you interested in crypto and where you're kind of at with your exploration. We'll start with you, Muse.
Yeah, so I got involved in crypto maybe about 6 years ago through Dogecoin. I attended a few in-person events here in the Bay Area. That's where I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. I've been watching, I guess, from afar. I used to, tip people Dogecoins on social media. I follow a few other different coins, and I always saw crypto as more of a long-term sort of investment and not really like a get rich quick scheme sort of situation. How where I'm at now is I'm looking more to get involved in trading, just to supplement my income, and looking forward to learning what I can.
Awesome, man. Here on Mars, you want to tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah. Kind of, same thing. Been making music is here on Mars. I realized my account says me and my shadow down in the. I had to use an alt account today, so sorry about that. But uh, I just have always found cryptocurrency very fascinating. I like the idea of something that's not centralized, belonging to a certain country. That type of thing has always fascinated me. I like how it seems to have it built into it that it's public. It doesn't seem like it's susceptible to the same types of problems that we see, like with our bank, like always printing off more money and different things like that. And I don't know, it's just something I've been interested in for a long time. I started making like a little weekly kind of cast on my YouTube channel just to get out there a little more. And it's me just talking about something I find interesting. And the very first one is I think I'd met Euclid and Monkey on Twitter. I don't know how, can't remember how, but I was like, let's look into this, and here we are.
Now you're down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, and I'd say I'm in the same boat as Muse, as far as and just in general, as far as investing and those types of things. I'm a long term type of investor guy, and that's the way I am with like my 401k and all that other stuff, like at work. And so that's probably the way I'd be with this. But I mean, I'm pretty interested in learning about all the different coins and stuff like that.
Right on. Yuki, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself since this is our first video, and then I'll give a little snapshot on me.
Yep. My name is Crypto Euclid, and I have my wife here, the Goddess,
Hello.
and we are probably I don't know. I guess we would say we're noobs in the cryptocurrency, maybe a little bit beyond noob. We know enough about it to get in trouble, maybe, but yeah. So we have lots to learn. I think when it comes to trading and things like that. So I'm excited to learn how to maybe buy some altcoins and sell them and be able to get more Bitcoin. I guess that's the whole point of all this.
Cool. For all you guys who are just tuning in and don't know me, I'm from Moby Dick, a Twitter personality. I've been involved in crypto for a little over a year. have had, a fair amount of success and really enjoyed um, involving myself in the community and learning about this space. There is certainly a curve to learning about all the aspects of the technology, and then if you want to get involved financially and do the trading, that's a whole another set of problems. But I'm here to share what I've learned in my short time, and hopefully learn from you guys too. That said, we'll go ahead and jump right in. I think a lot of us, our first taste of cryptocurrency is, probably has something to do with an exchange. And if you are listening and not sure how to do that, it's pretty simple. For most people, Coinbase is kind of the gateway to buying our first cryptocurrency. And currently, they have 4 coins on there. When I got involved, it was 3 coins: Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. You now have the option to buy Bitcoin Cash too. And as far as I know, there will be other coins added to Coinbase throughout this year. But Coinbase, that's essentially just an app that you can download to your mobile phone, or you can go on a desktop to access it also. But that allows you to purchase these cryptocurrencies and I guess begin the journey. You guys have any questions about exchanges or anything along those lines?
I'll just say that something I picked up that freaked me out at first, and was each time I'm trying to remember exactly how it happened, but each time I went to pick up my address for my wallet on Coinbase, it creates a new address for your wallet for that particular coin. And it was freaking me out because I was giving that to Monkey to put on his site, the music site, and it was flipping me out because I thought I was mixing up the wallets and stuff, but it just creates a new one in each time. And luckily those all stay good perpetually, I think. But that's just one thing I learned right off the bat.
Yeah, that's something that I also had noticed early on, and had a little bit of worry there. But that it was short-lived, finding out that those addresses still stay linked to your account. Um, the cool thing is you'll see these pieces of statistics that come out and say um, only so many wallet holders own this much percentage of all the Bitcoin, but what they don't realize is a lot of those wallets are sitting empty, and many of them belong to the same person. So if you see stats like that, know that that's kind of skewed. You're not ever going to get a clear picture of how many uh, Bitcoin per person are out there and being owned based off of wallet numbers. So Muse, you said that you got started with Dogecoin first. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, so your first cryptocurrency was Dogecoin itself?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Cool. That's very cool. So let me ask you this: how did you go about purchasing the Dogecoin, or did you get it sent to you from a friend, or how did that work?
Yeah. Actually, back then, it was real common in the Dogecoin community to just give it to people because it was sort of like a coin where you can kind of learn about cryptocurrency. So people would just freely give it.
Hmm.
And yeah, somebody just gave it to me. And from there, it was kind of figuring out what it was, obviously doing research on cryptocurrency, cryptography, all of that. But yeah, I was gifted my very first cryptocurrency.
Cool. So then you probably went to the Dogecoin wallet and set up a wallet that way, and then made your transactions via that.
Yep, yep. I set up a Dogecoin wallet,
Cool.
and then the tip bots were just starting to be created on like Twitter. I was very active on Twitter, so I would just tip people like all day long.
Hey Muse, so did you like download like the Doge wallet on your PC, or did you use like a Coinami on your phone, or how did you get the Dogecoin wallet?
Yeah, so I think back then there wasn't really that many phone wallets, so
Right.
it was definitely on my computer. If you ask me exactly which one, I'm not gonna be able to tell you. It was 6 years ago, and things happened to my memory.
Right.
But I remember there was a event in San Francisco, and the dude who created Dogecoin, Jackson, can't remember his first name or last name. There's a new Dogecoin wallet that came out on mobile phone, so I had downloaded that, but I never really got into like mobile phone sending cryptocurrency.
Okay.
So it could be said, without being too derogatory, that Dogecoin was kind of like a gateway drug for cryptocurrency for you.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I saw like the Bitcoin and stuff like that. I remember when Bitcoin was like I don't know, $400, $500 or something like that. Litecoin had just came out, and but I don't know. I don't know. I never just saw cryptocurrencies like I need to invest in this to get rich. It was sort of like, to me, and I still kind of see it this way. It's like an alternative form of currency for people to I don't really want to work with the U.S. dollar and everything that comes behind that. We can sort of barter, so to speak, and use this form of currency to do that with each other with. And I've always seen it like that.
It's very cool. So, fast forward to now, what exchanges, if you guys aren't comfortable with telling us, but that's fine too. But which exchanges are you involved on, Muse?
Um, I'm sorry, I'm trying to eat dinner. Um, I'm on KuCoin right now, and pretty much that's the only one that I'm on.
Okay,
Um,
and
I know there's like Bitrex and Binance, but I'm pretty much only on KuCoin.
okay, and you, Mars?
So I think you're referring. This is how much of a noob I am. I think you're referring to. I'm still just using Coinbase, if that's what you're referring to.
Okay.
I did set up another thing, and I'll have to look and see. I think it's Coin Payments, that people can use to like buy my record if they want to.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you have like a third party that will take the cryptocurrency and then give you a dollar amount for that. Is that correct?
Well, it stays in crypto. What it is it kind of functions as a, instead of, I wanted there to be some way for people to click on something that's like, yes, I want a copy of the CD here, or digital download, and then it sends it to me. It specifies, if they want to pay with like Litecoin or Ethereum or Bitcoin, um, it'll it'll automatically tell them how much they need to pay at that point in that particular coin, and then it stores it. I have a wallet with Coin Payments, and then basically once it gets to a certain amount, I can keep it there, or I can transfer it over to another wallet, and they take a little off the top.
Cool. That's certainly interesting because if you think about it, you've got all these large corporations and big business that still aren't accepting crypto, but you have the small businesses that are, even brick and mortar, and then all these digital businesses online that are accepting crypto. And to me, that gives them a huge head start over the big guys that aren't currently accepting it, and that's really cool to me.
I kind of I like the subversive nature of it. I
Yeah.
like the I think it needs to be. I think the more people that know about it, and the more it can be made accessible to like your average layperson like me, which is what I hope to accomplish when I make like a follow-up video from my initial foray into it. But I think the more people that know about it, I think the more that, like, I guess your normal, what do they call it, the fiat currencies, I feel like they'll have to cut the bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. The fractal reserve banking thing is scary, downright scary if you get to where you're looking into it. It's just borrowed money upon borrowed money upon borrowed money, and that to me it's not sustainable, and it really makes me think that we're heading down the road that this cryptocurrency, these digital assets, are going to become number one. And if you look at just the explosion of technology over the last several decades, it surely shows you that sort of trend towards this. So
I don't want to get too out of out in the weeds. I know we want to talk about trading, but I'm just curious. What is that? One of my main questions is, what do you think the thoughts are, or the thoughts? What do you think the chances are of like the government just coming in and like just putting the kibosh on it and basically making it, I don't know, what they can do or whatever.
I think that the people in our government, I think there are intelligent people in the government, obviously, and greed is certainly um, in their set of human skills the same as it is anybody else, and I think they realize that they would be essentially shooting themselves in the foot if they were to try and ban these cryptocurrencies. Obviously they want to wrangle it to some degree, but they don't want to put a complete stop to it, because they realize that there's going to be other countries that do take advantage of that, and um, they're going to be miles ahead of the US when it comes to that sort of thing, if we start putting all these restrictions in place, and not allowing the average citizen to take part in it. So that's just my take. You can you know have your own opinion, but that's just the way I see it. I think that they realize um, there's money to be made in it, and they would be doing themselves a disservice to put a stop to um, what this economy has become.
Yeah, if I can just chime in really quick. I live in California in the Bay Area, and we just recently legalized marijuana. And how that really ties in is the state of California figured out, obviously, that if you legalize what everybody's doing anyway, you can tax it. And I remember maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, when they started saying that you have to pay taxes on the cryptocurrency. Well, essentially what we're doing is printing money, right? Now it's money that we can't necessarily use to pay bills yet, but let's say you wanted to build a computer, and you had a couple miners, or you did some trading. Essentially, you can buy that computer with Bitcoin or whatever coin, and you essentially have a quote unquote free computer. So anything the government, tries to do, I think it will um be in the realm of taxing it when you try to sort of convert it into the currency of our country or whatever other country you're in.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. Yep. I see that sort of thing coming down the pipeline. Absolutely.
Hey,
Uh,
Famobi, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Okay, so one of my problems is getting upset and angry when I purchase Bitcoin or any sort of altcoin and the price drops. How do you get over like the emotional part of it? Should you just be trading like a robot, or how do you do that? Like, how do you not get mad?
Okay, let's jump right into the trading thing. The first thing that I'm going to suggest is you have a game plan. Anybody that sits there and can write down their goals and stick to them, they're going to keep focus on those goals, and the little shit that happens in between the time you purchase and getting to your goal, that's it's going to be less effective. Your emotions are huge in this market. It's how the markets work. They work on human nature. So the more that you are able to manage those, the better off you'll be. Now, someone like you, Yuki, that really kind of plays into their own emotions, you need to uh, level with yourself and realize that you're someone that needs to be more of the long-term trader. You
Yeah.
don't need to worry about where the price is 15 minutes after you bought it. So
Right.
I can say that for you, the best thing that you want to do is you want to start a journal, put those goals in that journal, and then stick to them.
Okay, that's good
Writing
advice.
That's good life advice.
writing things down is number one for help, helping anybody. It certainly helped me. Writing down, when I made a goal, when I screwed up and made a bad decision, writing that down kind of like etched it in stone for me, so that the next time I started feeling that emotion, I was like, hey, I can look right here and see where, what I did bit me in the ass, based on that emotion. So,
Right.
um,
I have a
you're,
question.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. You can finish.
I was just gonna say, forget about the quick easy money. If you are just getting started in this, forget about it. Don't try and do that. Work up to that to where you're able to take advantage of those short-term periods of volatility in this stuff, but don't start off on the freaking 5 minute or 15-minute chart. Just do the long-term stuff, and then you're building your confidence. You're spending time learning the technical analysis in the meantime, and you're learning the different aspects of trading that are going to make you a better trader. If you're sitting there worrying about the price 15 minutes after you bought it, you're undoubtedly going to blow out an account before you can bat an eyelash. So go ahead,
That
Muse.
that reminds me a little bit about poker. I used to play poker. So.
Awesome.
I guess my question is, uh, in Euclid's case, right? So let's say he wasn't, 15 minutes later the price goes down, but then let's say, okay, he says, I'm gonna focus on long term trading, right? Well, at that point, when do you like? How do you set that goal, right? Let's just say there's so many coins, right? So when you decide to say like, okay, I'm gonna invest in this one, how do you set the goal to say like, okay, when it gets to this price, I'm gonna be out? Like how does that start? Because every coin is in different stages of a project. Some of the coins they're not even, I don't know, their goals and their white papers aren't even legit, so to speak. So how do you get to that point?
That's where it comes back into the whole game plan thing. You don't have a game plan. You don't just make a game plan willy nilly. You need to go in and do your fundamental analysis on these coins. Pick something that you really like and you think has a strong chance of doing the long term in this in this new asset class. And then I wouldn't necessarily say go for a price. I'd say go for a percentage. Go for 10-20%, and then build your plan from there. Like if you want to move into another coin that you're doing a fundamental analysis on in the meantime. That's the way that I would handle that.
So
And
basically, like let's just throw a number and say I invest in this coin called EXE. After I've done research and I've seen, oh, looks like something worthy of investment. So you're saying at like 10% of 100 growth, then you take that 10% and then put it in something else you've done analysis on. Is that kind of like what you're saying?
correct. Yeah. So the guy that I learned to trade from, he he has a very strict rule of uh, doing a certain amount of risk versus reward. So he will enter a trade. A lot of the times, this guy's just sitting on cash, mind you. He's in tethers, so he will risk 1%. So he'll enter a trade whenever he has a certain amount of checks in his favor as far as the technical analysis goes. He will enter the trade and then he'll set a stop loss at 1% below that. That means he thinks that price isn't going to drop more than 1% before it goes back up. Now, if it does go more than 1%, it's going to trigger a stop loss and he's out of the trade and he can reassess. But his reward on that, he wants to risk 1% and he wants to gain 5. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he's gonna look at his technical analysis on these charts, and he's gonna see when he thinks the price isn't gonna drop more than 1%, but he's gonna be able to gain 5. So that's kind of the way that goes, and we'll get more into how to decide on when to enter a coin and when to exit. How to put targets on. We'll get into that later on down the line. Right now, I just kind of want to focus on some of the basics. So yeah, that risk versus reward thing, that kind of puts your focus on not losing, and it allows you to study your opposition. Um, let's see. I had some notes here. Okay, so I wanted to read you a Chinese proverb here. Fish see the bait, but not the hook. Men see the profit, but not the peril. So all of this plays into risk analysis, and that goes directly back into what I was just saying. You want to be able to look at the chart. First off, determine your time frame, and that goes into your emotions and what kind of trader you're going to be. A lot of you guys aren't going to be wanting to do the day trades right off the bat. You don't want to go on the hourly time frames and below. You may want to do the swing trades, which is daily or weekly time frames, or you might want to do the long term, which is monthly and yearly time frames. So, and the thing with that is the longer time frames are more reliable and they allow for bigger swings. So you're going to see bigger swings and not have to be sitting there staring at charts all day long with something like that. Which, if you do get into that, you need to make sure that you're someone that can manage those emotions, because you're going to see, like Bitcoin, we've got $1,000 drops within 15 minutes or whatever. That plays into any human emotion. Anybody can say they're a hard ass, but you start seeing something like that going, and you're wondering what the hell you're doing. If you just bought Bitcoin and it drops $1,000, um,
Yeah.
that's going to play on your emotions. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
So look at the higher time frames, and to use those to your advantage while you're getting started. Another thing with this is, I can't remember who said it, but they said that investing in markets is like being at bat, except you can watch an unlimited number of pitches before taking a swing. So basically what that is you have one chance to get in at the right spot, but once you do, you need to make sure it's the right one. So you got to go through all of this technical analysis and put as many checks in your favor as you can, and go for the highest probability trade.
I've got a question for you, Famobi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, shoot.
Okay. So one of the things I've learned was to, I guess the word is diversify your coins. Do you agree with that? Like, I mean, I've got, a nice, I'd say 80% in Bitcoin, and like 10% in like high caps, and like 10% in low caps. Do you recommend that kind of strategy?
This is one I'm going to leave up to, beauty is in the eye of the beholder on this one. If you are feeling comfortable doing that, then by all means do it. There's no one way to win at this. Personally, I keep a certain percentage in those top 3 coins, the ones that are available on Coinbase.
Right.
I'm not going to go into that, but
Right.
and then basically what I started doing is I would go on coinmarketcap.com, and there's 1,500 different coins on there, and I would do my research on. I would just pick out a handful each day, and they give you access to their website right there from CoinMarketCap. I would go in and look at the fundamentals on the project, check out the um, what the project was, what it was aiming to accomplish, where they were at in the roadmap. I would look at the team, see if there was any heavy hitters on the team, and then I would look at the community. The community is kind of a secret metric on these. If you look at how fast the community is growing, how um, uh, how involved they are, and that sort of thing, then you have a good idea of future growth and whether or not the idea is really uh, necessary, if it has traction to it. Um, and then after I'd complete this fundamental analysis, I'd go and begin looking at the charts, seeing where they were, uh, on the daily charts, and I would go as far down as the 15-minute charts before I'd make an entry once I had decided on a coin. But I did that for several months. I would go through each day and do a couple coins, and eventually got to where I had 10 different coins, I think it was, not including your Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin.
Mhm.
And it got to be too much to monitor all the time. So I cut back this January to where I'm only holding six or seven coins right now. Hold on, I
Okay.
can tell you. Yeah, I have seven different coins that I'm involved in right now, not including your um,
Top 3.
top three.
And that's the thing too, like something you got to realize is you have to be able to track all these coins. Like I think that's about what we have too, is somewhere like 7 to 10 coins that and tokens that we're involved in. You've got to be able to track these things and keep an eye on them, because if you get like too far and you've got like 20.
Yeah, it's my new responsibility.
Yeah, you've got like 20 different coins. I mean, you've got to use like Blockfolio, use a good app so you can track all this stuff.
Yeah.
And because you can forget you bought something.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could.
You could have something sitting on some
I hope you haven't.
some exchange somewhere, and you forgot about it.
Just,
Well, I hope not.
That
just
happened
don't
to me.
forget
That
about
happened
it
to me.
for forever.
Right.
Just, yeah, you could get spread thin on this stuff really, really fast. And the thing is, um, everybody's working with a certain amount of capital. If you are in 50 different coins, and they're all spread evenly, as far as percentages go of how much capital you put into them, and 5 of them take off and go nuts, who in their right mind isn't going to be wishing they'd put all of their money into those 5 coins? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Right.
So that's another thing, is that's going to come back and play on your emotions too. If you pick 5 that you fundamentally really like, you are a firm believer in the goal of the project, you're going to feel a lot better at the end of the day, regardless of price action. So that's just personally, that's what I came up with. That's what makes me feel happy and most comfortable. Everybody teach their own. You see these guys, I'm sure you've seen them, Euclid, on Twitter, that will start listing their bags, and there's like 50 different kinds of tokens. But
Yeah.
and that's all good. If it works for them, I don't have any issue with that. But me personally, I don't want to do that. I want to be in the loop on just a few, and I want to be very in the loop on them. So
Mhm.
I have a question.
go ahead.
Regarding there's a lot of new coins, new projects. I don't know if I should name them, but there's like one, for instance, Rentberry, and they were doing like a token sale. How does that play into when you decide to sell or buy a certain coin?
Are you saying like we've got new coins that are coming in that are competitive to a previous coin's market, or?
Yeah, well, so in San Francisco, there's a new company called Rentberry. They're kind of trying to revitalize the way you pay for rent and things like that. And they have a token, I think it's called Berry or something like that. But before it launched on the exchanges, they were doing a token sale. And then I think at a certain date, it goes live on the exchanges. Like, would it be, I guess, a strategy, I guess, to sort of wait until a coin comes live on an exchange, buy it, or how does your strategy with regards to buying new tokens or coins play into your action?
In the year that I've been doing this, I've only participated in one ICO, and I ended up getting uh, I ended up getting all of my Bitcoin that I put into that ICO back because they didn't look at the regulatory aspects of it before accepting people's Bitcoin. So being in the United States, I wasn't allowed to participate after the token sale was done. So I got all my Bitcoin back. But you're exactly right. I feel like if you aren't already a whale and sitting huge amounts of capital, that your best bet is to let the big players and these large, maybe even accredited investors take part in these ICOs. Let them take that risk, and then you kind of wait. And if you feel compelled to do the ICO, absolutely. But to me personally, it's better to sit back and let the big fish take that early risk and wait for it to hit an exchange, and then I get my money involved if that's
Yeah.
what I'm looking to do.
Like if it's a project you really believe in, you basically wait for it to come on the exchange, and then at the lowest point you can
Yeah,
buy in.
I'll wait for it to hit an exchange either way. I just these ICOs are there's been so many of them that are just massive exit scams, and they look professional and they look good and they have um, a good task in front of them, but that's exactly all they are. They look good. They're not anything beneath the surface, and that's why so many people are losing their hats investing in them. um, and if you look at a lot of the, you probably are familiar with venture capitalist named Jason Calacanis there in San Francisco. Have you heard of him, Muse?
Nah, I haven't heard of him.
That's been kind of his tone about a lot of these ICOs. Is just steer clear of them. And there are ones that will do good, but anybody that comes and says to you that you should have invested in this ICO they told you about, because now it's doing really well. They don't have a crystal ball. They can't see the future, and they don't know that. Um, you know, uh, to me, it's just not worth it. We're kind of all little guys in this game, so we have to manage that risk that I mentioned before, and that's part of it. Knowing when to get in, when to get out. There are good ICOs to get involved in, and I think with what we're seeing um, from the SEC and these three-letter government agencies getting in to do some sort of regulation, doing the KYC AML, I think that'll help. But with that, they're also going to make sure that you're an accredited investor to even be able to take part in some of these initial coin offerings.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. Thank you.
I got a question for Moby. Okay, so like some of these coins and some of these things that you can buy on these exchanges. So let's just say you buy like, oh, I don't know, $50 worth of a coin. And then you're like, I want to keep this long term. So I'm going to pull it off the exchange and, put it on a wallet. But lo and behold, they charge you a big old hefty fee to pull that shit off of there. Like, I guess at that point, people need to realize that, yeah, when you buy like small amounts like that, you almost are stuck on an exchange, right?
That's just something that you need to have put into your game plan. If you are putting a certain amount in, and for you to lose 5% of that, putting it into a safer position on a wallet, if that's going to hurt you that bad, maybe you're a little bit overexposed.
Right.
If not, then you can certainly swallow that 5% immediate loss, and your game plan says that you're going to make 10 or 20 by down the road.
Right.
I'm just throwing numbers out. Obviously, that's a little bit of a stretch, but if you're having a hard time swallowing the fee to get it off an exchange, think about the risk of leaving it on there and losing everything due to a hack if it's a centralized exchange.
Right.
I have a question that kind of, I guess, kind of ties into it, kind of, sort of. All right, so say I'm on the exchange, and let's just, I have $100, and I done my analysis, and I say, hey, okay, I'm gonna put my $100 in this coin over here. And let's say I get my 20% that I wanted, and I take the 120 or whatever out of that exchange, and or out of that coin, and I put it, let's just say, in Ethereum or whatever, um, Ethereum, Bitcoin, whatever, any of the volatile Bitcoins. There's a chance that I can lose basically what I just got from the small coin because I put it into Ethereum, Bitcoin, or whatever. How do you manage that? I guess.
So, anytime that you are looking at pulling, percentage profit out, it's good to go to cash. That's gonna make you happy. You're never gonna lose money taking a profit. Feel like you'd prefer to take that profit in one of these cryptocurrencies, then you're accepting that risk. But going to cash is, going to be the least, you know, risky. It's gonna it's gonna involve the least amount of risk. So, um, sorry, I got distracted there. I've got a little girl staring at me here. Uh,
Oh,
yeah,
that makes sense.
going to cash with a certain percentage of that is gonna make you feel really good. Locking in that profit. If you want to accept the risk of going into another coin, um, certainly uh, do some analysis. Maybe you trade it into Bitcoin and then immediately go into tethers, which are pegged to the U.S. dollar. Um, you're going to lose the trading fee, but maybe that's very minimal as opposed to getting into Bitcoin at a time when it's massively overbought and about to take a big dive. If you go to Bitcoin and then to Tether, you can sit in Tether and wait for that dive to take place and then get into Bitcoin.
Mm, thank you. Such good knowledge,
All right,
man.
I got a question. So, something as a new trader, you need to understand is you need to have access to exchanges. The other day, a week ago, I wanted to buy Doge and I couldn't because I wasn't on the exchange. So this isn't really a question. This is more of a statement, I guess. I think that what people need to understand is if you're going to start trading and buying some of these fun coins, you need to go ahead and get on the exchanges. What are the top five exchanges you recommend for Moby?
Um, let's see. Let's go to that. Let's go to trade volume. And all this kind of information is available to you on CoinMarketCap, and I think OnChainEffects.com is also another good. Um, no, I don't think. I know it's also another good resource for you to find this kind of stuff. But some of the biggest exchanges are like Bitfinex, Binance, um, KuCoin is another big one. Um, Bittrex.
I
Uh,
think it was hit BTC as what I think I had to use for Doge.
yeah, see, there is just a plethora of different exchanges, and this plays back into the not getting spread too thin thing. Um, if you don't feel like you can manage credentials and getting into all these different exchanges, it may be wise for you to pick a couple of them to start out with, and then just stick to coins that are on there. Look at the coins that exchange. Get an account with that exchange. Look at the coins that are offered on it. Do your research on those, and then go from there. Um, and
Yeah.
and that
Personally, I'm just stuck on KuCoin because I
KuCoin, yeah,
doing too
KuCoin's a
many
good
of them. I
one.
just get too much to think about.
Mhm.
I like KuCoin because of the charts. The charts they pull right off of TradingView, and TradingView is a good resource for anybody that's looking to get into into this stuff. Lots of different tools for you to access these candlestick charts, and there's always people publishing different ideas about the charts on them. You can kind of get involved in reading some of those ideas, and it helps you grow as a trader. You might come across something where somebody's using a certain indicator and you're like, well, I like that, let's look into that. Another good resource is Investopedia. If you're, wanting to understand candlesticks or candlestick patterns or different, aspects of trading such as that, Investopedia is good. The internet is certainly your friend when it comes to learning about this stuff. Let's see. I actually started learning to trade from a guy down in Houston, Texas. And if you guys want to check him out, I'm not gonna just plug him all willy nilly, but Thinking Human TV on Twitter and on Facebook, he posts, and actually I think he's on YouTube too. He posts daily market recaps, and getting in there and watching those videos will kind of get you started learning some of the nomenclature, the lingo of a trader, seeing what he's seeing. He talks about certain indicators like, just daily candles, like a daily hammer candle is a big indicator for him, or a daily engulfing bar. Just getting in there and listening to those videos and kind of hearing what he's saying, and then researching, what the meaning of it is good. There's so many different free resources for you guys to take advantage of, but the more you do that sort of thing, the better you're going to be at it. So
I recently I recently invested in a coin, and they did some sort of airdrop for tokens or something like that on the exchange, and I have the tokens, but it doesn't. Anyway, this might be a question for off of this air, but I'll ask you this question off air.
okay. Well, if you want to, we can go ahead and take care of it. How far are we into this, Yuki?
What?
A little under an hour on this.
Oh, you're asking me? I don't know. Let's see. I think we're probably an hour.
Okay.
Little under, yeah.
A little under an hour, yeah.
Let me take your question if you feel comfortable with that, Muse, and then Mars, if you have any questions, I want to get you taken care of too, and then we'll wrap it up.
My head is
Okay.
spinning.
Okay, so I recently, and maybe a few months ago, I invested in a coin called Oyster Pearl, and I think a couple months or weeks ago, they did something called like an airdrop. Basically, if you had some of this pearl in this exchange, they basically matched what you had with a token, I guess. I don't know if it's another, I don't know how this works, if it's another token or whatever. Anyway, on the exchange, I have that, but it doesn't have like a equivalent US dollar amount. What do I do with that, with the token?
Okay, you're just gonna have to be patient on that one, Muse. A lot of the times you'll get these airdrops, and I think what you're talking about is the oyster shell. Is that correct? The
Yep, that's
airdrop
correct.
of
Yep.
that one.
Yep.
The thing is it has funded your account with that airdrop, but the asset hasn't started trading on there. So
Oh, it's a totally different coin.
yes, it's gonna be a different coin.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And on that note, really quick, Famobi, I just want to throw something in there. If you guys have Bitcoin and you've had it for a little while, you need to check, because you probably have some of these alternative like airdrop Bitcoin things. You know what I'm talking about, Famobi?
Oh yeah, there's so many of them now. You've got Bitcoin private. If you've had Bitcoin over the last, year and a half, you now have Bitcoin private, Bitcoin X, Super Bitcoin, what are the other, Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin Cash. You've got all those now. Just wherever you're holding that Bitcoin, as soon as you log into, whether it's a paper wallet or whatever, it's now yours. So
Yeah, I think it was maybe Bitcoin Gold or something was the last one that I pulled off of some of my Bitcoin. And yeah, it was like free money. You know what I mean? So look into that if you've got Bitcoin. And I don't know if Litecoin had something like that too, didn't it? Or did that ever happen?
I don't know. I haven't had Litecoin for a while, so I'm not sure. let's see.
I apologize if this is like too noob of a question here, but can you explain? Is there a quick way to explain what you mean by an airdrop?
Yeah. So essentially, being a community member of these coins, like I'll take the hard fork of Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash because that's what a lot of people are familiar with. Um, they hard forked the protocol of Bitcoin, and essentially, if you were holding Bitcoin, you got an equal amount of Bitcoin Cash. Um, how it works as far as where the money comes from, I haven't really dug into that. Um, but it is it is a little bit like free money, as it was described earlier. Um, if you are holding that token, you're going to be credited with the forked token or whatever it is.
And
Now, airdrops are not necessarily just forks. If you hold a certain amount of a coin, they can send you the same amount of coin for holding it. It's kind of like a dividend for being a holder of that asset.
What I'm seeing, especially when you said dividend and just also just general principles discussed earlier, I mean, it seems like a lot of the rules that you apply towards investing, dollars or whatever, just different stocks, you're almost taking that same approach with regards to things like diversifying, knowing how much you want to invest in the, I guess what you would call the more reliable, steady stocks or coins. I mean, I don't think it doesn't sound to me like it has to be super confusing. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, absolutely not. I mean, a lot of the fundamentals as far as the trading and stuff goes, it's applicable across the board. But that said, it's vast. Like you look at the stock market, it's way more volatile than the stock market. You're not gonna buy a stock that's got the kind of volatility that we're seeing
Right.
in these cryptocurrencies. I think what was it, Ethereum, that did something so many thousands of percent gains last year. It might have been tens of thousands of percent, but the only thing that I can maybe um, relate to that is like the penny stocks, but even then, it's a whole nother ball game. And the thing about it is this is currency. This isn't ownership in a company that could
Right.
go belly up or something. Um, it's
Would you
a
look at it?
medium of exchange essentially.
Is it kind of analogous to where you hear like people saying, buy up a bunch of gold" type thing? Kind
Um,
of, not like as in, not as in it's, but when you invest in gold, you're investing in, I wouldn't say a currency, but like I guess it's more similar to that than it would be buying stock in Whole Foods or something.
I would say no, yes, and no. Um, Gosh, I'm trying to put this in words. The thing with this is technology. There's people that are saying it has no intrinsic value, which obviously it can be argued that these other things don't necessarily hold that too. Um, but the thing about it for me is I've growing up I've watched this explosion of technology and innovation in that, and I feel like we're just naturally moving towards a money system, of financial system that is all digital. And if you look at even what happened before Bitcoin came out with credit cards and debit cards, and the way that the banks are keeping track of this money, and most of that is based on digital um, digital ledgers itself. So
Yeah.
it's just the next, to me, it's the next logical evolution in what we're looking at for the innovation of.
Because we don't have money necessarily. We have like digits on a computer screen. If you look at your bank account and you log into your online banking, those are just like digits,
Right.
And you pay your mortgage by moving those digits from one place to the other. We are basically electronic everything's electronic now. And I see it's going to happen that it's just going to move to cryptocurrencies where it's all decentralized. I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah, it just, to me, it makes it the opposite of us going back to busting out the scales and weighing up some silver or gold. It just doesn't make sense for the future. And another thing to that digital money thing is, look at how many people buy gift cards every year. How big of an industry is the gift cards? Where is that money? Nobody ever sees that money.
Right.
It's all digital. So as soon as you've handed your cash over for a gift card, you just basically contributed to exactly what we're doing here with money being all digital.
Word.
Fascinating.
Any other questions, guys?
I'm trying to think of anything. Oh, I got a good one. Famobi, what is a good way to store your coins if you want to pull them off the exchange? Are we talking about Ledger Nano S? Are we talking about like the Exodus wallet for your PC? Are we talking about on your phone? What's a good way to store your Bitcoin, and your Ethereum and your Litecoin and some of the ones you want to hold for a while?
Other than Bitcoin, I've never used a hardware wallet. I've used the OpenDime wallets for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I have some pretty awesome new paper wallets that I got from Whopper.io. I'm gonna plug them real quick.
Whoop whoop.
But other than the OpenDime wallets that I've used for my Bitcoin, I've never used a hardware wallet. I've always either used a paper wallet or it's been on the exchange. So, but saying that, I'm assuming risk putting leaving my coins on these centralized exchanges, and that's okay with me. I've only got a certain portfolio that's on them.
Yeah.
But I'm
Can I
kind of
ask-
waiting for.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Can I ask how long you feel comfortable leaving them on the exchange?
So I'll leave it on there for any amount of time, but the thing is I'm not gonna put 100% of my portfolio on the exchange and leave it there for
Right.
forever.
Okay.
Just looking back at the history of hacks on these centralized exchanges, you don't want to do that. You want to
Right.
try to limit your exposure to that sort of thing happening.
Mhm.
And we're gonna see a lot more of these decentralized exchanges popping up, and they're going to become more prevalent and a bigger deal, and that's going to make it easy for people to quickly go from whatever wallet they have to making an exchange on a decentralized exchange that's a lot less susceptible to these hacks. So
Okay, good.
Cool. All right.
any other questions, guys?
No, I'm just gonna go take my coins and put them in my regular wallet now.
Yes. I like to keep a coin, at least one or two coins under my pillow. That way, if I wake up, I can dream about my coin.
Crypto
I
Yeah.
carry at least one at all times in my pocket in case I need to play heads or tails with somebody.
Right.
Wait, you have a pocket? Is that in your helmet? Where do you have your pocket?
I don't see where a whale has a pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wear jeans from time to time. They
Okay,
make some
good.
whale jeans. Yeah. I don't know. What is it? The big XXL.
Yeah, big and tall.
I
Story.
see
Yeah,
your
big and tall.
I see your Avi is you in space. Now, is that a picture of you jumping out of the water, or do you actually float around in space? Because you have a helmet on.
Yeah.
So explain that.
So I was crafted from the clay, Olympus Mons Mars, and first creature to be born outside of Earth. And
Oh.
I'm just kind of floating around aimlessly for now. Got
Okay.
too many other things to focus on other than where I'm going geographically, so that's kind of where that's coming from.
All
That's what
right.
Crater is.
Floating in the waters of consciousness.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
I noticed that you don't have to have the lower part of your body covered. I see that you got a helmet, but the rest of you is exposed.
In that picture, I mean, he did
It's-
say he wears jeans occasionally. So.
Okay.
It's like a nano, it's a polymer that
Oh,
covers
okay.
the rest of my, yeah.
That makes sense.
Same stuff they spray on iPhones, man. Not really that advanced.
That's
Awesome.
funny.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up. I've got to go spend some time with the ladies, and
Well, thank you so much for spending the time to explain this.
yeah. I hope that we can do this a little bit more regularly and kind of help you guys out and anybody else that's been listening. It's a lot of fun for me to turn around and pass on what I've learned. I don't know everything, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. But it's really fun for me to pass on the things that people have kindly taken their time to teach me. So.
And also, don't forget to tell everyone that this is not financial advice,
That's right.
and to do your own research.
Do your own research.
This is not financial advice unless it's coming from Euclid's microphone.
And then it's certainly not.
Yeah, definitely do your own research. I think that pays bigger than any other aspect of this. Like I said, I immersed myself for months in getting into the fundamentals of a lot of these projects, and it's paid off because I can feel confident with where I put my money. It helps with that emotional aspect of all this, and it's given me the opportunity to not have to sit there and worry about where my money's at. So
Cool.
Yeah. And thank you, because I have some guys I have to beat this contest thing I'm doing, so I really need the help. So I appreciate it.
You're over there scribbling notes, then, okay?
I am. I'm taking notes.
All right, guys. Well, here on Mars, thank you, brother, for attending and
Thank you.
Muse, same to you, brother. This is some great questions.
Thank you so much.
Welcome you guys back if we get to doing this on a regular basis. You guys are always welcome.
Oh,
Yay.
yeah, we'll definitely
Right
be
on.
doing this.
Yuki and the Goddess, as always, pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Well, this was fun, and I hope I'm invited because this I want to do it again sometime.
Yeah. Well,
You were very well behaved. I think we'll give you another invitation.
Yeah, I think I did pretty good.
You did.
I don't think I did any crazy outbursts. There was
Not yet. We should end it before you do.
yeah.
Well, you asked some really good questions, and I'm happy. So, all right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, Famobi. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye.